Good evening, everyone. I'm Kevin Hodge. Tonight on your WZMQ 19 News, we see how the Escanaba Recreation Department is giving the public the chance to enjoy this winter weather for free. Plus, a new program at Michigan State University is aiming to boost civics knowledge for students and teachers alike. And the government is back open, at least for now, but a new funding fight is already brewing. Your 19 News at 11 starts now.
Live from the UP, this is WZMQ 19 News at 11.
Welcome in. A first look at your forecast. We will feel some relief in the temperatures for tomorrow, even kicking things off for tonight. Sometimes this is what our daytime highs were looking like when we had that stretch of really cold weather. So single digits, maybe even the teens for some of us for the lows for the overnight, and then we will warm things up to lots of seasonal conditions across the UP, mid to lower 20s. That's exactly where we should be for this time of the year. So it actually is going to look and feel really nice and a true early February day. And maybe even some warmer temperatures on the way too. We'll have all those details in a few short minutes.
Kelly, thank you very much. Escanaba is home to several ideal locations for snowshoeing and other winter activities. WZMQ 19's Lily Simmons tells us about some free ways to enjoy those spots and how weather conditions impact the city's grooming schedule.
Recreation areas like Ludington Park and the West Side Trail System are maintained by Escanaba Public Works. The department says last year trails were fairly quiet due to a lack of snow accumulation.
We have had several questions about them, but it wasn't really something we ran into much last winter, where this winter obviously the urgencies come with abundance of phone calls. I think they'll start to get utilized more.
Public Works crews groom those trails as they can. However, major snowstorms like the ones that have hit the UP this winter can cause delays.
When we get an abundance of snow, our priority is to plow major streets, to plow local streets, to plow alleys, then to plow bike paths. The recreational trail or anything that's park related is kind of our last priority due to the urgency of vehicles, pedestrians walking.
The department started the season with staffing issues as well, impacting the grooming schedule even further.
We got over 80 miles of roadway to plow. We got 15 miles of bike path to plow. Guys were coming in at night for 3-4 weeks straight, and we didn't have guys here during the day to go out and trim on these trails and groom on these trails. We'll have a better routine now that we are only down one employee.
To help residents take advantage of Escanaba's trails, the Recreation Department is offering free ski pole and snowshoe rentals.
They can check them out for 24 hours. A lot of people rent them on Friday because they can bring them back on Monday. We have 13 pairs. The smallest size we have is size 20, and the largest we have is size 36.
Those interested just have to fill out a rental form and present their ID at the Civic Center. The Recreation Director says it's a fun and accessible way to stay active in the winter.
It's just really important for people to get outside in the outdoors, get some sunshine, get some fresh air, and snowshoeing is low impact. They can go as far as they want, so as long as they want, take breaks. We do have some benches back there. We just think it's a great place for them to go out and enjoy the outdoors.
And to enjoy Escanaba's public recreation areas, weather permitting.
It'd just be helpful if the public understood where we were coming from. Every time we get more snow, everything just resets from square one. We got the best 13 guys on the planet. They make my job very easy every day.
Reporting in Escanaba, Lily Simmons, WZMQ 19 News.
As excitement grows for the return of the UP 200, teams of veterinarians are preparing to keep tabs on hundreds of the four-legged athletes. This year, around 20 vets and vet students are taking part in the events. Before the race weekend, each dog will go through a mandatory pre-exam by these crews, checking on their breathing, joints, muscle groups, and paw pads. Across the race's multiple checkpoints, the teams will be able to keep a close eye on each dog's condition as they progress.
We put hands on every single dog. We write down some characteristics in their log book, and that book follows them across the entire race. So we have information down, so the next vet team that puts their hands on that dog, they can look back on that record and see if there was anything that was noted before.
As always, the pre-race vet check will be open to the public. This will begin at 9 a.m. on Friday, February 13th at the Marquette Riverside Auto. Michigan State University is launching a new civics education program as the country approaches its 250th anniversary. The James Madison College Academy for Civic Education will offer summer seminars for high school students and training opportunities for teachers across Michigan. Students will study founding documents and learn about American political traditions, while teachers will receive new strategies for teaching civics. Program leaders say the initiative is designed to help address declining civics knowledge.
Civics education is vitally important in all times, and then maybe is especially important in times of intense partisan disagreement or contestation.
The program is free for participants and covers travel costs. Application information is available on our website, WZMQ19.com. Much of the federal government is reopened after House lawmakers approved a sweeping spending package to keep key departments, including Defense, Transportation, State, and Treasury, up and running following a 3-day partial shutdown. However, the Department of Homeland Security will only receive a 2-week funding extension, setting up another looming deadline for the department that oversees TSA, FEMA, and others. Negotiators now have until the end of next week to resolve sharp disagreements over immigration policy. Democrats are pushing for changes to ICE, like an end to roving patrols and limits on mask use by agents. Democrats say without major reforms, long-term DHS funding remains at risk. But House Republicans say using funding for DHS and the important agencies it oversees as leverage is wrong.
And we need to have meaningful reforms because they are unchecked. They have been proven time and time again unworthy of our trust and unworthy of the benefit of the doubt.
It's a whole lot more than ICE. It's FEMA that deals with emergencies. It's the Coast Guard. It could be floods, could be tornadoes, could be hurricanes in the future, and so it doesn't make any sense to to really put our citizens at peril by not funding the Department of Homeland Security.
Just yesterday, Homeland Security Secretary Kristi Noem announced her department would immediately issue body cameras to federal officers in Minneapolis following 2 deadly shootings involving immigration agents. The department says the program will expand nationwide as funding allows. On this day 3 years ago, a Norfolk Southern train carrying hazardous materials derailed along the Pennsylvania-Ohio border. 3 years later, congressional members are advocating for additional rail safety measures to be implemented so that future disasters can be avoided. Our Washington, D.C. correspondent Rachel Knapp reports.
It's been 3 years since the Norfolk Southern train carrying hazardous materials derailed along the Pennsylvania and Ohio border. The National Transportation Safety Board says a failed wheel bearing caused the train to derail, which released hazardous material into the surrounding communities.
Seeing the derailment, seeing the toxic fireball, the rush decision that we have since learned that forced that vent and burn and that toxic fireball into the sky, to see first responders from both Ohio and Pennsylvania rush in to help others to keep us safe, and then to see our constituents years on still dealing with their very serious and legitimate concerns around their health and safety.
3 years later, members, experts, and local officials are still advocating for additional guardrails to prevent another East Palestine from happening. They've been pushing to pass the Railway Safety Act.
It requires reliable, real-time hazmat information. The firefighters arriving know the dangers that they're facing on scene rather than discovering through long-term exposure.
Reduce the risk of wheel-bearing failures that led to the derailment in East Palestine, increased fines on the railroads that now face a slap on the wrist, stronger requirements for transporting hazardous materials like vinyl chloride that we saw in the derailment in East Palestine, putting 2 workers on every train, minimum crew staffing on every train.
Industry experts and members are urging leadership to move forward with this legislation.
This is something that can and needs to be addressed. I do not want to be back here next year or at the 5-year anniversary or the 10-year anniversary, or heaven forbid when there's another tragedy, one that shocks another community.
In Washington, Rachel Knapp, WZMQ 19 News.
Kelly Rowland has your first warning weather forecast when we come back. Plus, NASA's Artemis II mission hits a snag. Persistent hydrogen leaks and freezing weather force a delay. We'll have the details after this.
Now, WZMQ TV 19 First Warning Weather with meteorologist Kelly Rowland.
And welcome back. It has definitely been a harsh winter so far. Where we should be is lower 20s for the high temperature, and we have stayed consistently for a while at least 10 to 15 degrees colder than that. So we'll start to switch gears, climb the temperature ladder back up. So it sounds really exciting, which it is. It's relief, but it really is just warming us back to that mark of where we should be. But an extended cold like that is just not good for humans, pets, and pipes all around. Going to be lots of relief on the way for people. Not too much here to note for tomorrow on your First Warning Weather Futurecast. We'll see some sunshine for tomorrow, and again, seasonal temperatures mid to lower 20s, but then cloud cover will increase for Thursday. We get a little burst of some widespread snow for Thursday morning. It lingers a little bit through the afternoon and evening, and maybe slightly into your Friday, but from now all the way until Thursday night, basically, we're looking at anywhere from about 1.5 inches to maybe just shy of 4 inches. So this is more of a moderate coating, and it is widespread. It's not necessarily a lake effect event, but this is what we're going to be looking at for tomorrow and Thursday with the winds. It's calm for the winds tomorrow. Not much is going to be happening. We may have a slight breeze, but the feels like temperature should pretty much match for tomorrow. Not going to have too much of a factor of wind chill, but then once we get to Thursday, this is where we're expecting that warm up, and it really brings us to the seasonal temperatures. And with that, for Thursday and Friday, we do get the snow, and immediately following that is that Arctic cold surge. But the feels like temperature for tomorrow, again, it's still cold, but in perspective to our winter as a whole so far, it's really not bad. It's much more comfortable and tolerable, and especially when we get to Thursday afternoon, we're looking at feels like 20 above, which is something that we saw 20 below for a while, as you know, for the end of January. This is the jet stream. Again, I'm just going to let it run just to show you what we're looking at. The blues and the purples is that indication of some colder air coming our way for Friday. This is right after that snow moves out of here, but then right after this, and we'll talk more about this tomorrow too, there's going to be a big pattern for the entire United States of the jet stream pushing up, and it's more so going to impact the eastern half of the U.S., and it will impact us here too. We're going to be experiencing warmer than average temperatures. It's all around a warming trend, maybe a little February thaw for a lot of the country too. So with that being said, I know there's been such cold stretches where we have some decent thickness of the ice in some places, especially this red area. Anytime you see the red, that's 90 to 100%. But if you get those drastically changing temperatures back and forth, and even when you get a little bit of time above freezing, you really got to make sure that ice is structurally sound, because you just never know with the temperatures all over the place. We do stay below freezing though for the most part, just ahead of the weekend where those snow showers push on through. The cold surge happens Saturday, but at least it's short-lived this time. We'll rebound back to the mid-20s and upper 30s for Sunday and Monday and Tuesday.
Kelly, thank you again. NASA is pushing back its Artemis 2 rocket launch after a problem was found during a critical test this week. NASA says the rocket had persistent liquid hydrogen leaks during what's called wet dress rehearsal. NASA personnel were able to troubleshoot the problem and got the leak within their acceptable limits. They say the unusually cold weather affected some systems. The test also discovered issues with the Orion crew module hatch pressurization and dropouts with audio communication channels.
We got a chance for the rocket to talk to us, and it did just that. Test gave us exactly what we needed. It was an opportunity for us to wring out the system as well as the team before we asked our crew to go fly on launch day.
4 astronauts were set to head out to space as early as Sunday. They'll now have to wait until the next window of opportunity in March. The 10-day mission will take the crew around the moon and back to Earth, a giant step toward a moon landing that's scheduled for 2028. A trip around the world may sound like something only found in an adventure novel, but more Americans are choosing to embark on the epic journey in lavish style or a more budget fashion. Wendy Gillette hops aboard and shows us how to make it a reality.
Live from Peru. Retiree Randy Goodwin from Harrisburg, Pennsylvania, clearly embraced every part of his recent private jet trip around the world with the travel agency Safran's Dumont.
New horizon, new adventure.
From a luxury Belmont train to see the wonders of Machu Picchu, absorbing the culture of Easter Island in Chile, and its stone statues, the indulgence of an overwater bungalow room at Conrad Bora Bora Nui in French Polynesia.
So this is the main street of Sydney.
To walking some of the world's great capital cities and ancient sites. Goodwin and his fellow passengers experienced a whirlwind 9-destination jaunt around the world.
I love it. It's quick, efficient.
The World Tour makes the same stops every fall. The journey lasts almost a month, limited to 50 guests on board.
It's a life-changing experience.
Paired with an onboard bar cart and lounge area. The company, born in France, invited us on a portion of the trip, which features French champagne and wine and a native chef on board.
We are very happy to be French and very proud, so we want to share that.
The trip starts at a cool $100,000, part of Goodwin's travel-heavy retirement strategy.
Like everything else, you got to plan for it. It just doesn't happen. So this is the brass ring at the end of the long road.
There are more budget brass rings, using saved points or miles, or working with an around-the-world specialty travel agency like AirTrex.
One thing that people might find surprising is that an around-the-world ticket can be purchased for as little as $3,000 or maybe 150,000 miles.
Star Alliance and One World offer round-the-world tickets through their partners. There are tight restrictions, such as a minimum and maximum number of flights, starting and ending in the same country, and traveling east or west with no backtracking. But it could still be your ticket around the world in 80 days, or just 18.
AirTrex suggests a daily spend to accrue enough points for an around-the-world ticket. For economy class, sign up for a 1.5-time multiplier credit card and spend $10 a day for 18 months to build up enough miles for that magic ticket. Mike Ludlam has your sports highlights after the break. He'll start with Ishpeming taking on Gladstone in girls basketball. We're back in 2 minutes.
One, two, three, 4, 5, 6, 7, 6, 7, 6, 7. Good evening, everyone. A big game in the Upper Peninsula girls basketball schedule tonight. New number 1 Ishpeming from the Division 4 poll traveled to Gladstone to meet the second-ranked team in the UP Division 1 through 3 poll. We'll get things going in the first quarter. Gladstone's Lily Johnson just 22 points away from another milestone. She will hit the step-back 3 right here, and Gladstone has an 8-4 advantage. For the Hematites, Maya Hemmer goes to work along the baseline. She gets that one to go. 8 in the first quarter, ended up with 14, tied at 8. Now a steal by Frankie Stetson, and that will lead to a Janessa Eagle 3. and she ended up with 26 on the night. We were tied at 21 at the half. To the third quarter, Braves working the ball around, and Eva Panconian is in the corner, knocks that triple in. Gladstone leads 28-25. Then Johnson goes to work, drives down the lane, and banks it in off the window, and that is history. That put her over the 2,000 point mark for her career. Just the fourth UP girl to ever do that. Trivia. Lexi Gusser of Forest Park, Allison Bailey of Uintral Creek, and Krista Clement of St. Ignace. Johnson also has more than 1,100 rebounds, ended up with 32 points tonight. This game went into overtime, and Gladstone was your winner, 53-49. Meanwhile, in Marquette, 2005 state champion coach Julie Philpus of Houghton visited the Sentinels. Third quarter action, Marquette breaks the press as Avery Osborne keeps dribbling all the way to the hoop. A little side Euro step and puts that one in. She had 25, Sentinels up 34-25. The Gremlins countered that. Ellie Hainault with a drive and a hoop. Houghton back within 34-27. Marquette's Haley Taylor appears to be in trouble. Oh, that didn't last long. Lobs that one in gently. Move to the fourth quarter now. Avery Osborne will spot Addison Kramer in the corner for three. Marquette leads 44-31. For the Gremlins, Ruby Zawada, Ellie Hainault inside to Lexi Burns. She turns and scores off the glass and rim, but the Gremlins could not get a rally going. Sentinels take this one 55-40. On the board, Nagani remains undefeated over Calumet, 59-45. The Sioux, 21 better than Alpena, 54-33. Forest Park's coming on. The Trojans defeat Munising, 53-29. Kingsford, 45. West Iron County, 30. Westwood, a couple touchdowns better than Iron Mountain, 43-29. Uintral Creek easily over Watersmeet. ETC's Bree Beston went over the 1,000 point mark for her career last night. Wakefield Marinesco drops Dollar Bay 60-21. Butternut slides past Ironwood 46-44. Did not hear from Bessemer and Ashland. Jeffers had four players in double figures, defeating Lakeland and Hubble 62-48. Lance 60, North Dickinson 32. Rapid River slides past Mackinac City 37-36. To the boys, where Gladstone is fifth in this week's Division 1 through 3 poll. The Braves visited Marquette, which is tied for second with Westwood. Will Ingram started off pretty hot for Gladstone, knocking down the triple to get the purple and white on the board. Moments later, Ford Richardson to Brody Clements, and the Sentinels are on the board, trailing 3-2. Back for the Braves. Lonnie Davey to Ingram again. He scored 11 of Gladstone's 12 points in the first quarter, 5-2 Braves. Then Richardson to Carter Firestein, and whoosh goes the three. Marquette led 14-12 after 8 minutes. To the second quarter, Alex Prince to Tegan Reynolds for three. Reynolds was the second Brave to score a basket. They were making some free throws, but Marquette took off from there, and the Sentinels went on to win 87-54. To the boys' numbers, West Iron County also scored 30 on the boys' side tonight. Not enough. Kingsford had 67. ETC over Watersmeet, 74-49. Ontonagon drops Ironwood, 72-54. Alex Hebert had 21 for Houghton. Gremlins all over Calumet, 66-24. Hancock's in the win column, 41-34 over Gwynn. It was Dollar Bay 70, Chassel 25. Barriga 8 points better than Wakefield Marinesco. Norway easily passed Kearney NATO. Superior Central 48, Rapid River 45. Mackinac City holds off Mid-Penn 46-39. Big Bay did not, doubles up Grand Marais +1, 67-33. Hannahville 73, Munising Baptist 54. Newberry 74, Rudyard 53. And it was Brimley over Engadine 60-40. Plus, yes, there's more. Cedarville Detour 65, St. Agnes 44, and Alpena 5 better than the Sioux 51-46. High school hockey, sure, why not? Hancock at Nagani first period. Nagani is on the power play. Nolan Odavero will get the puck back to Connor Ryala. His bad angle shot bounces off the goalie into the net. Miners took a 1-0 lead at 12:29. Hancock had a couple good chances in the first. Kirby Storm here, but he was denied by Miles Kettleoff. We're going to jump into overtime, knotted at 1. In the extra session, Kirby Storm is going to get the puck and lead a 2-on-1 break. He waits and waits, then dekes around Ketela for the goal. Hancock comes out with a 2-1 win in overtime. Also in high school hockey, Jeffers blanked Kingsford 6-0. High school skiing today at Marquette Mountain. The boys win again for the Sentinels with 21 points. Lane Skidda won both races, while Connor Henry was second in both. On the girls' side, Marquette with 24, followed by Norway, Houghton, and Ironwood. Sydney Cool of the Sentinels won both races, while Stella Dillon was second in both. High school swimming and diving, Marquette over Houghton 95-81. Houghton defeats the Marquette girls 104-80. That's the first head-to-head win for Houghton over Marquette since 2017. NBA Pistons, Nuggets, pick it up late second quarter, and that's Cade Cunningham. He had a good night as usual, 29 points and 10 rebounds. In the third quarter, Duncan Robinson, I'll get the ball back to him. He's usually pretty good 1-on-2. Sure he is, and he gets that one to go. Pistons are in front by a comfortable margin. However, Jamal Murray made things tough on Detroit. He scores there, and by the time the smoke finally cleared, the Pistons held on to win, 124-121. And we will be right back.
And a final check of your forecast. Hopefully you're a little happier with the forecast than that extreme cold that we've just been talking about. It's winter, it's still cold, but at least this is much more comfortable as we head through tomorrow. So overnight we'll get to the single digits, which is pretty seasonal. The normal low is 5 and the normal high is 22. We'll quickly jump from the single digits to the teens once we hit that 9-10 o'clock time. We'll get some sunshine. It will warm us up. Not a significant amount, but it brings us to right where we should be, mid to lower 20s, and we'll have pretty calm conditions for tomorrow. Not seeing much breeze. The snow is non-existent, probably not even a snowflake, but then that changes for Thursday. We're looking at widespread snow for the morning, and then it tapers off. It won't last all day, but it might cause some lingering snow showers into your Friday. So the temperatures range. They definitely go up and down all over the place, but at least we have some comfortable, calm conditions for tomorrow before some snow to take us into a cold start to the weekend.
Kelly, thank you again. Mike, we have some trade news tonight.
We have lots of trade news. I just wish I had time for it all, but we'll keep it simple. The Detroit Pistons traded Jaden Ivey to Chicago. From Chicago, Detroit gets Kevin Werter and Dario Saric. So that might mean some good depth up front and at guard. Former Spartan Jaren Jackson Jr., if I can keep this straight, went from Memphis to Utah as part of a deal. And there was another one that involved about 8 players between 2 teams. So it was like, yeah, I don't have time to get the thesaurus out to straighten it out. But the deadline is Thursday, so we may have a couple more trades coming.
All right, good stuff, Mike. Thank you very much. Thank you all for watching. We'll catch you back here tomorrow at 6/5 Central. See you then.
Lily Broadcasting stands with the people of Iran.